Everybody, we're glad you can make it. I just want to let you know that our speaker next month, July 14th, the Sunday, will be from Freedom Works organization, and the topic will be the IRS, the IRS scandal. So we'll get some insight into what's going on, as if we're not getting a lot every single day. Well, we're fortunate today to have Shirley Husar here with us, who's going to keep us entertained and occupied and interested and involved, more importantly. She has an enormous resume, which I couldn't possibly go through in just a few minutes. But she's been, just give you a few highlights, she's been a delegate for the California Republican Party. She's an outspoken Republican personality. She's been on talk shows. She's had a talk show. She's a conservative leader. She's worked with the Republican Party. But most importantly of all, the thing that resonates with me the most is that Shirley understands that the Democratic Party is not the place to advance the betterment of our state, our country, and black people. And that's a very, very important insight to all of us that we've been aware of. She believes that the solution to America's problems lies in the greatness of the American people, with its measure of growth and opportunity, the Republican Party has been the champion of blacks, minorities, women, and ethnic Americans. Now, Shirley writes for the Washington Times. She has a column called Urban Game Changers. Her main mission is to motivate people to get involved. And she's going to talk to us today about all those things. And if you aren't motivated to get involved after you hear this talk, we're going to have to give you a beating or something. Shirley.
Well, how are you guys doing this morning?
Pretty good.
How many natives of California do we have here? Woohoo!
How many native Santa Monicans?
Santa Monicans.
Pretty much. Anyway.
How about LAans? I'm actually Los Angeles born. Los Angeles, California, born in the Angels Hospital. It was a Catholic hospital my mom had me. And what a blessing and what a privilege I'm here today. So I'm excited. I'm so excited to share with you ideas, concepts, mindsets, visions, that we are so lost in this state, because God knows we got some fruits and nuts in this state. I had some people ask me today, am I going to go to the Gay Pride Parade? And I'm like, this was posted on Facebook, so I don't know if it's today for the Gay Pride Parade, but I was like, I hope it's not in Santa Monica, because I'm like, oh.
No, that's why I was late.
Really?
Yes, trying to get past
See?
the ride.
Yeah, so you saw all those unique people. Yes, let's lay hands on them. They're very unique. Okay, so we got some work to do, and we're going to talk about strategy, we're going to talk about concepts, ideas, ideologies, and I'm going to talk about what I am and who I am. My name, as you heard, is Shirley Husar, H-U-S-A-R, and I am Urban Game Changer. Urban Game Changer was created so that we can interact in the urban community. It consists of Libertarians, Independents, Republicans, and pro-Democrats. As you know, we are a supermajority state of Democrats. How many people know that?
Yeah.
So as much as people may not like Democrats, we still have to work with these people. And I tell people that we have to work with these people because we have to get them to understand our concepts and our values. Back in the day, there was a thing called conservative Democrat, and there were things called liberal Republicans. And so even if you're a conservative Republican, you can always say, let's find a conservative Democrat. Who remembers that? Okay. Well, that's no longer. It seems like it's just one side versus the other side. And so it's made a lot of animosity going on in our state. We're going to be addressing those issues as well. So let's start from the beginning. What is Urban Game Changer? Well, Urban Game Changer, like I said before, consists of Libertarians, Independents, and Republicans, where we interact with people. And how did I become an Urban Game Changer? Let me pass this out. You guys can pass those in the back. Wow. I am born and raised in Los Angeles, as I said. before. It's called now South Central. It never was called South Central. LA born kid. My parents had their own business. It was called Tiny Town College. It was on 39th in Vermont. It was me and my brother, and I have 3 other brothers and sisters, and everyone has passed away except for one sister. My parents have passed, and my mom has passed, and my dad passed. Entrepreneurial people, go-getters, ones that knew how to make good money and do it well. And they taught me that. They taught me the purpose of being a small business owner, how they have to wake up in the morning, and they're cleaning the floors to running the whole organization. And it's so funny how we've transformed today where people continue to look for government to set their mindset in place. When I go talk to young people and they say, I have a young business and I want a small business loan and I'm looking for, SBA loan, I'm looking for a nonprofit. And then I take them and I say, well, let me ask you, have you thought about OPM, other people's money? Have you thought about family and friends? Have you thought about acquisition and mergers? I mean, I'm throwing different things at them. They're like, what are you talking about? Have you thought about raising the funds, doing a fundraiser, like Kickstart? Have you thought about that? See, those concepts, those ideologies are missed because we're not there. The conservative to hold back. People say, well, you're a conservative, like it's a negative word. What does conservative mean? Conservative means to consume, to conserve, to not to spend as much. And then when I meet people who say, I'm not a conservative, I go, really? So you can eat at Morton's and you can eat at Laurie's every night? They go, no. I said, okay, that means that you're a conservative because you're conserving your money for those special moments, right? If we also conserve, we want limited government, so you want the government to control your whole life. No, I mean, well, then you might have some Republican values in there. See, your joy of life is to find camaraderie. It's not to preach at people. It's to find out what you have in common. And that's what the GOP has done wrong. It has lost its values and identifying what they have in common with the other man. We're so good at preaching and telling our vision and the Tea Party and the Republican ways and God and country. And, they feel like they're being smoked and choked and smothered by that. And it's not about being choked and smothered. It's by identifying. Let me ask, how many people here really want to see changes in California?
God.
So tell me, what is it that we think we're missing? Give me some ideas. What do you think we're missing in California?
What it was. Humanity and character.
Okay. Humanity and character. Anybody else?
Too much totalitarianism.
Ooh.
And a lot of separation of groups and the pots being stirred and, I hate you, you hate me. A lot of that. I think it's very bad. And some
Especially on
people
the West
make a
Side.
lot of money doing that.
That's true.
It's an industry.
Right. There's lobbies out there that are just constantly promoting racism right now. I mean, I watch Hannity and he had the conservative black Republicans on there and they're talking about how they've been racially attacked. And I go, you know what is interesting? Because we in Cali, we're such a melting pot, we don't even focus on that crap. Do we really focus on that? I mean, seriously.
Just the people who are trying to further that.
Right,
But
further
us
that
in our
mission.
daily,
We're not
no.
like that.
Right.
I mean,
No.
you got to understand, we set the standard for the rest of the country. So I need you guys to think about, before you leave here, your job is to be leaders. Your job is to root spurs, meaning that you are the root. You are the ground, the root to make difference in the country, not just in the state of California. We're one of the 5th largest economy. How can you come from being one of the 5th largest economy? We're now 9th or 10th. I think Brazil is 5th, which is kind of interesting because Brazil has had all that nice oil drilling given by a president. Does anybody know who that president is? Instead of drilling here in California, letting us get that revenue, it actually went to somewhere else. So let's talk about those ideas. Who's your leader in your community? Let me ask you this, because in order to connect to these people, so we do have a structure system. We have districts, we have counties. Who are your leaders? So if I were to ask each one of you who your leaders were, I want you to tell me. But because the groups are smaller, I'm going to set you up in rows. Row 2, you two are together. Row 2 here, and this row here. I want you to turn around, and then you're going to split it in half. And I want someone to be the leader in the group. I'm going to take 2 minutes, and I want you to look at each other, and you're going to tell each other who's your senator, who's your congressperson, who's your assembly person, and who's your mayor. And you've got 2 minutes to do it. So turn around. And where you live right now, you need to know your district number, your assemblyman, your senator, and your congressman.
We're gonna fail.
Okay.
We're gonna fail.
Are you marching your set? And go.
I did look them up.
Oh, did you? What else were we supposed to do?
Once your assembly district, your state assembly district, and
I think
your
what's the
state district for your senator.
Yeah, I only know
Well, and that's national, yeah, I mean, that's what I.
No idea.
Yeah.
Eric Garcetti now.
But you need to know, you really.
My local one.
You need to know your local.
But I'm that's the one on, oh, no, that's the up and down.
Yeah, I want the up and down.
Okay.
Oh, I got a chair. That's even nicer.
You don't go for you don't have a representative.
All right, got one more minute. Senator, Congressman, Assemblyman, Water Board. That's a good one.
Not Bloomberg, of course. Yeah. It's, I know what
That I
that is.
can
No, it's not. Not Bloomberg. No. Get yourself on that camera rig. I know.
Yeah, I've had this a long time. It's been around. It's not like a G12 and then now have a G15.
No, not you.
Just to show you how.
Yeah, I remember.
Shirley Husar.
If you're a G12, well, that's a government.
That's right, I'm a G12.
Okay, time's up. Let's start in the back with the red hat. Tell me, who's your congressman, senator, assembly person, and your district
I'm kind
member?
of new to Palos Verdes. I've been up there for a while. I just knew Craig Hewitt was running, and he lost, and I
We
know
always
there's a
lose.
lady mayor, but I don't know the names, and that's about all I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about this side?
Is mine.
No, not you yet. I'm still in the two back
Oh,
rows.
beg your pardon.
No, it's all right, beautiful. It's
Beg your
okay.
pardon.
Back two rows. Anybody else? I know there's more than one person on those back two rows.
I'm from Pasadena, so it's like Adam Schiff and whoever took over from Dreyer, which was a push, really, because Dreyer was worthless.
Yeah.
But I don't know who the assembly person is.
Well, I know my California assemblyman is Nazarian, I believe. I'm from Studio City. And then I looked up the senator, but I forgot his name. So.
Okay, front rows.
Rosenthal.
What district do you live in?
14.
Okay, Rosenthal.
See, do I get a point for that?
What is he? Your congressman, your senator? What is he?
He is a congressperson.
Okay.
And he's been there for many, many years, as most people like. Let's look at Waxman. Anybody got a Waxman? There you go. There you go. They couldn't drive him out with a cannon.
Who's your water board?
I don't know.
Okay. Front row.
I had no idea.
Well-
Who are you?
Assemblyman, congressman,
In
senator.
Santa Monica, we've got Richard Bloom for
Yeah.
local assembly. I don't know the senator. If you
Bloom is the 50th.
if you said it was Betsy
50th
Butler, I'd say,
district.
okay, that was, I think
Yeah,
maybe
is
she
it Betsy Butler? Yeah.
could be.
No,
No, she
it's-
ran against Bloom, sorry.
It's
Bloom did it.
Ted
Bloom
Lou.
beat her.
Ted Lou.
Ted
Who?
Lou, I
28. 28.
never knew that.
So,
Okay.
I didn't know who won that.
Okay.
And we have Waxman and we have.
So I want each one of you, if you got a piece of paper or your cell phone, I want you to remember this and write this down. You're not going to win if you don't know the rules.
I like that.
You're not going to win because you don't know the rules. You guys have such passion for patriot movement. You have such passion to change California, but you don't know how to play the game. See, when I was a little girl, my brother taught me chess. Chess is different than checkers. Each piece moves differently. Each piece can catch you off guard. I always think about the knight because I always say, what the hell do I do with this knight? He moves in the L. But what happens with the knight is you don't see it coming. You're so focused this way, the knight's over here and he takes you out. He doesn't come from the side, he doesn't come from the front, he doesn't come from the back, he comes from this L position, which could be behind you, he could be anywhere of the L, right? But we're used to people who can move like the queen or maybe the rook or one of those. But that knight, he throws me off. See, you need to be a knight. You need to know your communities. You're failing the Tea Party. You're failing your organization because you don't know your numbers. You don't know your districts. You just don't know. I live in Pasadena. Your assembly person is Chris Holden. Donna Lowe ran against him. I know because I worked on her campaign. And we campaigned heavily. Unfortunately, we did not win. For a congressional leader, my person is Judy Chu. And Judy Chu was interesting because Judy Chu ran against Jack Orswell. And I worked on his campaign as well. You have to know your leaders. Find out, write this down. You need to know who your school board is, who your water board is, who your assembly, and who your congressional leaders are. Why water board? Water board controls the money. They control the money. If we look in our districts, do you ever look at the infrastructure of your districts? And there's certain areas, you know what infrastructure is, right? Okay, infrastructure is development in the community. If you were to say, well, it'd be nice if they kind of reface, there's money for that. It's supposed to be going towards that, but the state spends a lot of money on a lot of things that don't where it's supposed to go. But if you go to your certain cities, you'll drive down the streets and you'll see certain streets look nicer than other streets. Well, there's money allocated for those communities. Now, where it's going, we don't know. There's no accountability. That's what I want you to know. You're not accountable yourself. You don't even know who your leaders are. So how can you say you're passionate? Each one of you, let me ask you, since you don't know them, that means you don't have their numbers in your phone. Write this down. Put their numbers in your phone. Write their numbers down. Know what they're doing in your communities. See, I'm more grassroots. I know that there's things nationally going on, like the IRS. And there's other things going on with Obama and everything with the Chinese president was just here. Michelle Obama didn't come and spend time with her, and people looked at that as a snub. And I mean, I write for the Washington Times. I have a national column, a worldwide column. So I have to be abreast on that issue as well. But my column is more about urban connection. Things happen in the Libertarian Party, in the Conservative Party, and even in the Democratic Party. Now, let me say this to you. I know you don't like these Democrats that are elected. I want you to get to know them. I want you to be that master of a hawk upon them. They go, oh my God, it's that Republican lady again. Oh, here she calls me. Oh, damn. It's Barbara. Barbara. What's your name?
Patrice.
Patrice. Who's your assembly person?
Richard Bloom.
He should know you.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know him yet. I get, Barbara Boxer.
No.
Guy Five, but
let me tell you how you get to know him. They don't think for themselves. They have a thing called staff. For some reason, their little staff answers the phone all the time. You need to know who their staff members are.
Okay.
And then trust me, they'll get to know you because their staff members will say, she's a pain in the ass. You're not a pain in the ass. You're a passive aggressive. I don't need those people anymore out here in California. Are anybody out here passive aggressive? Who likes those kind of people? I'm a go-getter. Oh, let me think about it. I'm excited. Well, let me sit down. My legs are tired. You're not really sure what they are. Stop and go, right? You don't want to be that way. Okay? So, know their name and number. Know their staff members' name and numbers. What do you have a passion for in your community that you want to make changes on? Does anybody know that? Do they know what they want in their community they want to change? You look and say, we can have better this or better that. You need to know that. Okay? Another 2 minutes I'm going to give you. I want you to tell me the culture in your community. Culture and race. Now, what is culture and race? Well, you have race, even though we're all the human race. I always tell people we're all human race. But we're race, when we think about, of course, blacks, Latinos, Asians, demographically, that culture, or that race of people. Culture, because if you would take somebody from Nashville, Tennessee, and California, those are two different cultures, right? So, I want you to tell me the culture in your community. You got 2 minutes. Go for it.
Culture.
Culture and race.
Well, I'm in Orange County. I can tell you it's pretty it's much more basic than up here.
Culture.
Not quite. Is it what it used to be 20 years?
Culture.
No, it's different. It's much bigger. The beaches. It's basic, yeah, but it's really diverse.
I would say we are most of the
Adjacent, like Sunset Park.
What is your culture? I want to but I'm an American. But I know an awful lot of
green.
Now my mother got it.
Pretty much.
That's all there is. You know what I'm saying? I there was. I've been to Ireland. Very much. What is my
Concerned about it.
I'm an American.
We've got about 5.
One more minute. One more minute.
Where Marmont from Holiday Inn was going over there, that's a pocket.
Yeah, that is, that's my property.
That's,
But then further south is quite, right near the freeway, it's really sad.
yeah, that's
That's our
and the oddball thing is there's some very exclusive houses.
Well, going a little further south.
All right, time's up. I gave y'all a lot of homework, huh? How you feeling? You feeling good?
No.
You feel pretty bad. It's like crap.
wouldn't be here if we felt good.
It's all right.
Well, you made me remind me something that every time I've noticed a city council person that I thought was a bad city council person, when they got termed out, they always went up to want to go to the water board. Every time.
Money.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
I never knew why.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. Why? I thought maybe it's just hop, skip, and a jump, lateral
That's
moves
the job.
to go up to state senator or
City
something like
council
that.
No, right,
for
right.
water
Yeah.
board. Interesting.
Yeah. They always make lateral moves or moves that are dealing with financial moves.
Yeah.
It's chess.
This
You
is the
guys
first time I
got-
heard of a water board outside, you know, the problems with the Bush administration.
Yeah.
But, so, different word now, but it's more important to me now.
Oh, absolutely.
That
We don't have the water, guess what?
I didn't know that.
And you know there's going to be more money for water. You've got to have money. It's a necessity. It's like a woman with lipstick. You got to have that lipstick, girl. You got to Eva, please, put something on. A little lip gloss never hurts. Okay, so it's like soap and water, right? No, seriously. Soap and water. So it's a necessity. Culture and race. Talk to me. Let's start with the guy in this corner.
Well, I just flashed on
Say your name so I can
Frank,
start.
my name's Frank,
Okay.
and I was thinking of the various parts of Los Angeles. I mean, to go from the west side to East Los Angeles, let's say Boyle Heights, you'd swear you were in Tijuana. And parts of the east side of downtown.
Clarify that Tijuana. You mean because it's large Latinos or the
Yes,
the
very
quality?
strong Latino influence, Latino businesses.
Okay. So maybe because you did clarify, when you say Tijuana, you might think of a really bad Mexican community or a good Mexican. I mean, or it could be Spanish or it could be Dominican Republic. I mean, so clarify.
Well, it's American version of a Latin city.
Okay.
And there's quite a bit of wealth there.
Okay.
And art and stuff from their background. That's
So what's the culture in the community? It's the race. It's Latino. What's the culture?
the culture is it's very exclusive. Let's say, you know,
How so?
La Raza all over the place. You see, it's very exclusive, and they've set themselves up, their kingdom, their area,
Okay.
their homeland now.
Your turf.
And it's shown with the pride that they display, with all the things they express themselves with, and it's really a treat to go down there.
Okay. Let's move to the second row. Then it run one row before that. The back row. Next row. Let's start with the beautiful lady with the blonde hair.
Oh,
So tell me the race and the culture in your community.
I think our race Well, I live in Portland most of the year, so, and I stay here over the summer, so it's kind of strange for me because it's very, very different in Portland. But here, I think the race, it's not that mixed, is it, really, where we live? We live over on 17th, Washington. But culturally, I'd say it's very middle class, very working, but people take quite a pride in what they do. But I'd say that what I notice is a difference between here and Portland in that people mix a little bit, but there's not a huge sense of community.
Where you're at?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So you might know your neighbors just very, very
little.
superficially.
All right, next row.
I live in Santa Monica.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've lived here for 17 years.
Okay.
And I find that most of the cultures, it's a blend of Russians, Lithuanians, and Persians, but mostly it feels like an American culture, and mostly it feels Jewish.
Okay. Okay. Very much so. Okay.
Interesting.
Next one.
Well, where I live specifically, it's a very interesting little microcosm. I live on Pico Boulevard, kind of near the college, and actually everything is quite mixed around there. I get a sense that not even predominantly white, just mixed. Asian, Latino, mixed race, a lot of mixed race. However, there is a gang presence in Santa Monica, and it's right near there. And the city doesn't like you to know about that, but there is, and I think it's black and Latino, and I hear gunshots from time to time. But then this is just south of the freeway at 27th, and then further south is a very nice neighborhood, I would say that's mainly white. So that's our...
Okay, front row, anybody in front row?
I'm maybe one of the only people. I'm from Orange County. I've lived in Huntington Beach my whole life, and Huntington Beach has always been a predominantly middle-class city. Started lower when I was a kid. It was much lower. It was much smaller. It's 200,000 people now, and now we're, predominantly white, but a strong Asian influence coming in. Okay. And it has always been. There are some rich people there. There are some poor people, but the large swath of it is middle class. But it's also always been dominated by terrible local government that is not, they don't take care of the needs of local people there. Okay. So it's always been a big business oil town, to a certain extent. So it's a great town to live in if you don't get mixed up with the government there, because they're very non-responsive. So, but a good solid place to live. But and then there is when I was a kid, I knew every one of my neighbors. And now you're really fortunate to know a lot of them. So there's a bit more of a dissociation.
Okay, so what we conclude with is, because I can go to each one of you and we're all going to give different answers. What we can all agree upon, culture is very diverse, right? It's very different. Okay, I want to narrow you in, because this is how we're going to win. Do you want to win?
Yes.
You want to make changes?
Yes.
This is how we're going to do it. Number one, to identify the race. Understand demographically what you live in. Is it majority Latino? Is it more Asian? Is it more Hispanic? Is it more Jewish? More black? You need to know the demographic race in your community. If it's more white people, well, what kind of white? There's no such thing as white people. When people say, "Oh, she's white," what the hell is white? There's no white people. I'm sorry. You're Irish. You're Jewish. You're Italian. You're Polish. You're from Ireland. You're Dutch. You're Russian. You're American. But you're American something, okay? No. You're American something. Well, you can say no, but you have to be able to identify with these people. If you deny the culture of those people, you're not going to be able to connect. Your job here is to learn connection.
I understand that.
So I'm not saying that we're dishing American. We're all Americans. We did the national anthem. We know that. But we need to go deeper into the roots. So my job is to help you identify a deeper connection.
Shirley, let me interrupt you 1 second, sorry. If you haven't yet signed our sign-in sheet, we're going to pass it around. I'll start with the front row, and thank you for those who signed in, and the rest of you, if you would, we'd appreciate it. Shirley, thank you.
So it is more important to identify the depth of your cultural connection, your race connection. Okay, let's talk about culture. What I want you to identify, and maybe I'm going to give you another 2 minutes for this one. Let's talk about the activity of cultural community. Don't you remember the cultural centers, the parks and rec centers when you were a little kid? How you guys got together and you found out things you had in common? You kind of don't have that now because parks and recs are kind of like in everybody's home. Like my kid loves to play Nintendo and Xbox. Not Nintendo, oh God, he hit me on that one. Next Xbox and PlayStation. And so they have this thing where they have a community where they're talking to all these strange people. And you say, who the hell are you talking to, kid? They go, oh, Mom, I'm talking to Joey. He's in Nebraska and so and so. It's like the Kool-Aid Mom houses aren't like they used to because they're all in technology, right? So they're all gathered there. So he's the techie kind of kid. But then you get people who are beachy people. We're in Santa Monica. We love good living. We love fresh fruits, and we love good salads and teas. We drink our teas and our lattes in the morning. And let's keep it real. There's a culture of people. Then there's people who are wired and they live at those coffee shops on their computer. That's a culture. You have your mom and pop communities. You have your mommy and me groups. You know, the women who jog and they've got their jogging suit on. You're like, I hate that bitch. She just had a baby. And she's like, I just had a baby. My husband's at a CEO job. And I've got to do this way to keep my butt nice and high. Okay, let's keep it going. You got those girls, right? No, come on. I'm
Every day.
Every day. Every day. Every day. So, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I want you to identify and think of the people in your community that are the majority. You know what I mean? If it's the mommy and me's, it's the college students, what is it? Is it executives? Do you see more executives living in your community? Is it the Jewish community where you know, like off of Pico, there's a large, strong Jewish community. And you know, they have their I call them rituals, but they have their everyday church things and they have their certain meetings. 2 minutes. Talk to each other. Go.
Yeah, where I am.
And you're always saying it's my community is then if you go south, they're the elite, they're the snobs, they're the children snobs, they're dogs are snobs. Okay? Are you North?
They are.
I'm moving I would just say
in my neighborhood, we have a lot of people walking around.
I can't put a name on
strollers and lots of babies.
There are
But where we are,
But now I agree with you.
The main well, cities are their own kids, and we have a lot of businesses that are oriented towards
There's a big one. Like they're already in college. By the time this is in there's the dogs come here. And as you go south, like
I say hi to everybody.
very friendly. That's who it is. Then you get to Venice. And that's what
yeah, you got a fascinating neighborhood.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah, we're mostly, during the day, our neighborhood just disappears. Everybody's gone. It's like a ghost town. And they come back from work. The only people
30 seconds
are the dog walkers and the housekeepers controlling the spot.
I would swear in my neighborhood nobody works. They're working all this while.
You know,
I live near Hollywood, so I'm assuming they're all actors and writers.
I think there are a lot of people who don't work. But then a little further south, you've got Ocean Park, which is like many people.
Yeah.
But I just don't walk over there.
Okay, time is up. Okay, time is up. Very interesting, huh? You guys are kind of like identifying things like, okay, we got a lot of work to do. If you wonder why you're not getting elected officials in places because you don't know your community. You have no clue of it, but don't worry, I'm here to help you. Got your back, got your back. Okay, so let's talk about culture. Somebody just start telling me stuff. I'm not going to point you out. Just tell me your community and your culture.
We have a big tennis and Pilates culture.
Okay, so you have a very athletic, health workout culture.
Right, and I was gonna say, I like wearing my NRA baseball hat to tennis, and all the ladies like.
Say that a little louder so they're.
I said I got an NRA hat when I joined for 5 years, so I wear it to tennis, and all the tennis ladies are like shocked, and they start asking me, and I get to talk about Second Amendment and the shooting range, and concealed carry, Pacific Palisades.
I have an NRA hat, and I told them it stands for Negro Republican Army.
Negro Republican Army. I'm gonna steal that one myself. That's a good one. Negro Republican Army. Represent all y'all Negroes today. Okay. Anybody in California, we all family. That's what I'm talking about. I love it. Excellent, excellent. Somebody else, give me more.
No, I feel like my neighborhood is just being overtaken by buckets with babies.
Wow. Mommy,
buckets with babies in the restaurants, babies in the grocery stores, babies on the streets, women with babies and dogs and cell phones and pushing a bucket with 2 babies and dogs and cell phones.
So let me ask you a really important question.
Please.
I think it'll help you with this.
Really?
Are you being invaded by babies?
Yes. Lots of babies.
But ask her where she lives.
Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Santa Monica.
But now that's the above Wilshire group.
Oh, they're all in vitro, because they all waited too
Oh,
long.
she's keeping it real. And God knows these women at 40 and 50 years old have babies. God bless them.
I'm invaded by babies too. I'm in Redondo Beach, and
Okay.
there's 3 elementary schools in my neighborhood. And so we got all the young moms running with their baby strollers, but they also have the husbands that are workaholics that are in the aerospace business.
Okay.
So we're in an aerospace. There's like 15 companies within my area.
Okay. Okay.
I feel like I live in the project.
And you still got babies.
From one extreme to the other.
I didn't get to know my neighbors until my dog started living with me. Because, I mean, I have this, well, I couldn't have him at my house until, so he was at my kid's mom's place. But it was like a big change for me, so now for the last 5 years, I know who's walking their dogs. I see that.
So you have a dog community. So we have a mommy and me. We have a tennis. Anybody else?
I was going to say I'm invaded by dogs as well.
Oh my God, dogs, babies, and moms.
I live near West Hollywood, so there are no babies.
Okay.
It's all dogs.
I see this all over, but down on Huntington Beach, we have a lot of folks that are coming from all, because they like the beach culture and whatnot. But I have never seen more heavily tattooed people than I see now.
Wow.
I can't find a real, you know, if I'm looking for a cultural connective tissue for that, I can't really see it. They're run across all age barriers and races and cultures, but I mean people who back in the day would have been called the illustrated man. I mean they are covered head to toe, and that to me I look at that as a danger in society. I bet people who have that little regard for their physical body, the outward side of the physical body. So those folks worry me, and that's a trend that I really pay attention to.
I hope you like me because I have a tattoo. So.
But you don't, I can't see. Maybe we can show and tell later.
I actually like the tattoo people. I have some really incredible tattoo friends that are really strong Republicans.
Sure.
And if you would visually look at them, you'd never know. They're conservative, strong Republicans.
But also when I talk to those folks and I ask them, because I'm concerned with folks that they're mutilating their body for fashion, right? In a way, that's the way I look at it. And I say, what does that one particular thing mean to you? And they really can't enunciate. Like, to me, if you're going to do that to yourself, have something that means so much to you.
My 16-year-old already has his tattoo all picked out. I said, I'm not signing anything for you, 18. But he knows it's guitar, and that's the main thing for him. So there's purpose in it.
So you have a strong tattoo community. And I appreciate it. Let's go back to the subject matter now. Culture. Tell me one more thing about your culture. We've talked about tennis and yoga, mommy and me, baby, and babies, dogs, and tattoo people.
My community is a ghost town during the daytime, because all the it's Christian, it's mostly Caucasian, and it's working people. They're liberals, they're Democrats, they're environmentalists. But if you go in the daytime, you could hear a pin drop. The only people there are housekeepers, dog walkers, and babysitters.
Okay, so let's break this down. The reason I want you to understand something cultural because I want you to be able to find a political connection to the subject matter. Let's start backwards. If we're going to do, you said that they're Christians, they're liberals, they're working class people. So if you were to do a community talk, what would it be about? I'm going to tell you. It's going to be about safety. They're never home. Somebody could be watching their house. So even if they're liberals and say, you know, I know you don't have to go and telling them that they're liberals. They know it already. But again, you're trying to find something in common with them. So I would go and I'd approach what right now is talking about safety and community. We're talking about grassroots. Try to always remember to try to focus more grassroots than state and national. Obama's going to do what he wants. He's president. Get over it. He's already elected. You know, all these gays are mad because he's not saying what he said. All the blacks are mad because he's not doing what they want. He's going to do it. Every president does it. Forget about the fact he's black. Forget about the fact he's Democrat. They all know when they're in their last 2 or 4 years, they're good to go. They're going to do whatever their ultimate dream is. Screw the country their way. So, unfortunately, I mean, I'm going to give you a reality check on that. What I want you to do is focus more on grass, and keep grass in your head. When you're California, keep grassroots in your head. Know your community. So if you have a community where you know no one lives in that community, you need to think about safety. Find out rules and regulations. Find out about the police. Find out how often do they go through on the community. Be the advocate for that. Because that way you find something in common with them. That way you're able to connect with them. Let's go to the tattoo people. The only difference I have with you on that is I've met some incredible conservative Republicans who are head to toe. Yep. Just like what you mentioned. Totally agree. So if you put that energy up of questioning them, you're not going to have anyone that'll be receptive of you. They won't receive you. Sure. So my advice to you would be watch your energy distribution. Sure. Because if your energy is like, oh, I don't know about them. That's like it's saying, I don't like you because you're black. Sure. Based on a visual appearance. Right. So I'm like, oh, that's a black lady. Well, I don't know about
I'm just not bringing them into my survivalist bunker later.
You need to. Because you might need one of them on your team. You'd be surprised.
You'll say, there's a difference. Someone's born black. Somebody chooses to get a tattoo.
I know that, but they also are identified by the way they look. And I agree with that. But people, he's talking about looks.
I was talking about what somebody does and their habits.
Right, and I understand that, but I still say...
I'm not going to make friends with drug addicts. And
I'm not saying that the tattoo people aren't drug addicts, but you got people who are great drug addicts and they're professionals too. They're crack cocaine addicts and you would never know. They look wonderful. We've had great celebrities pass away from drugs. You would never know that they were that addicted. So all I'm talking about is visual appearance. I'm not talking about culture or who was born what or black or whatever. I'm just basically saying if you were to look at some people judge just by the way I look. So same thing with the tattoo people. Though I identify why people put them tattoos and them piercing all through their nose and hair and look like they're some kind of creatures. It's beyond me. That's beyond the point. They vote, right? That's all we want. It's all about numbers and money. Yeah. So if you're just trying to get them converted to understand numbers and money, then you need to have an identification with them. Find some ideology, ideas in common with them. And that'll make it easier for all of us. So I understand where you're coming from. Find out something maybe regarding ink, because I know there's some legislation on the types of inks that can be used in this country. The regulation on inks in the body, what it does towards the body. Go deeper. Connect with them. Say, man, what kind of ink is that? I can tell you, being African American with a tattoo, lighter colors don't always show up on me. Yeah. Because when they put it in, either they'll blend like the whites and the yellows, and so I'll go in and I'll talk that way to them, and they go, "Wow, you know?" I say, "Yeah," and then we'll get to going from there. See, you find something that you have in common, you match and mirror with them, but instead you've already prejudged them. Man, they're weirdos. They got all that stuff. Why the hell is somebody gonna do it to their body? I don't get it. I'm a good-looking man. I'm clean. Don't have a cut on me. You ought to be like me. Guess what? You're one of a kind. Yeah. We all are. Okay, dogs. Oh my God, how many people see them little doggy bags left in the corner? I'm so sick of those little doggy bags in the corner. On the street, okay? So if you have people, if you live in a dog community, they've got to have these dog association parties, right? They've got to have the tattoo parties, meaning parties, association groups, events. Go to those events. They're in your community. Guess what? Those are people. You need the numbers because you're trying to win the votes to change the state, to help the country, to be superheroes. Do you guys get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So if we have a dog community, you know, you need to find out, well, where's those dog events? If you like dogs. You know, if you don't like dogs, but you like winners and you want numbers, you don't have to like dogs just a little bit, because you're trying to empower people with the real knowledge of what the values need to be in place for your community. Find out things of thought in your community, so then when you go to the dog show, you say, you know about that street on 1st and Main? Did you know about that building? There's some legislation. Oh, what happened? Now you've connected. Did you hear about the gas station? You know they're putting more liquor stores. You know they're raising the weed shop. Really? You know, find something. Because even though if you're not a weed person, I always tell this to taxpayers. I said, do you know how much money those things are generating? Where the hell is that tax money going? Some of those shops generate between $2 to $3 million in tax revenue per year in California. And they're putting them in certain areas. And then I thought, oh my God, they're more in the urban communities. But they're also in your communities too. Okay? You need to find out where those tax dollars are going. And even if those persons are into those herbs, you need to ask them, why isn't that herb money coming back here since you smoke the stuff anyway? I'm not a smoker, but I always say find out things that are find out things that you can relate to with them. Okay? Mommy and me, oh my God, babies. Babies are wonderful because it's that next generation that needs to make sure everything is in place. They're very protective, that everything is in line, the security. We don't want dogs that bite. We don't want any type of legislation that's on the table right now that affects their children is a major one. Do you guys know about the transgender bathrooms in California? There's a law in California that there's got on the table right now that they're trying to put transgender bathrooms in kindergarten through 12th grade. Oh my God. And the state are going to pay for it. Guess who's going to pay? Who's going to pay? Who's going to pay? No! Raise your hand. Even if you didn't raise your hand, you're going to pay for that transgender sex bathroom. And why? Because you're sleeping at the wheel. Stop sleeping at the wheel. I don't care if you don't like these people. Stop sleeping at the wheel. Because you need to know legislation and laws that are being implemented into the community which you live in. Tim Donnelly, Assemblyman Tim Donnelly, go to him. Go to his website. You know why I like Tim? Because he sends emails, current emails of things that are on the table.
What's his name again?
Tim Donnelly. He's an assemblyman.
For what area?
Near Pasadena area.
Oh, I spelled Donnelly.
Oh, D-O-N-L-L. Somebody help me out.
D-O-N-E-L-L-Y.
Thank you. I think E-Y.
D-O-N-N-E-L-L.
E-Y.
Yeah.
Oh, E-Y.
E-Y.
Oh, God.
Follow Tim Donnelly. You know why? Because Tim Donnelly at least sends me emails. And that's where we're building Urban Game Changer. That's the purpose of Urban Game Changer. Is that I'm going to be able to, as soon as I get the information, like the transgender bathrooms, you guys will be known, identified immediately. Did you get Shirley's email? Did you see that? Then you can do your homework on it. Or we're really trying to set it up where we've already done our homework. We've already got the letter. All you have to do is push click, and your name will automatically be sent saying, I support or I'm against such and such bill. And they'll tell you why, and then you'll see what you've read. So that's our goal in Urban Game Changers, that all these little things that you don't have time, you're too busy living your life to be following, we'll do that part of the homework. But you got to do yours. You got to help me out. You got to go in those communities and make yourself known and relevant. You got to connect. Say, hey, my name is so-and-so, I'm with Urban Game Changer, and I'm here to connect to the urban community. Because if you tell me you're a Republican in the Tea Party, oh, hell no, you got to go.
That's right.
I mean, the Tea Party got a bad rap. I'm sorry, the brand sucks. Because they allowed it to be tainted.
Yeah.
Over the years, it's not gotten better. You go to African American, Latino people, they do not like Tea Party people. Nobody, you can't say anything. They put that guard up like, oh, tattoo, I'm out of here. So, you know, it's sad because that's not what the Tea Party is about. They're good people. They're great Americans. They're not totally right-wing. They have vision and value, and that's why they came about, because they wanted to stir up the tea in the community, like the Boston Tea Party and understanding history. People don't connect that at all. And then the flag with the snake, they really don't connect that at all. Don't tread on me. They don't connect. It never was explained. The brand was never explained. And the brand was never driven. When I say Urban Game Changer, it's very clear. You're in the community, you're changing the game. You're in the community, you're changing the game. And you have not only Republicans, Libertarians, but you also have pro-Democrats, business Democrats. Mike Gibson, Inglewood, Democrat. I love working with Mike. I think he's a great person. Why? Because he's out there bringing pro-businesses to California. There's no Republicans over there. I got to work with somebody. See, even though they're not Republicans, don't get mad. Go on them. Get your ways implemented in their mindset. so that your communities change. Find out where those contracts are going. Go to those city council and school board meetings. They allocate a lot of money. Where are those contracts going? You need to know that. Because if you're not knowing that, now you're not aware. Okay? So mommy and me's, transgender bathrooms is a big topic right now. You need to look that up. You can go to the Community Washington Times, Urban Game Changer, and you'll see I wrote an article about it. I'll give you a little bit more information and where to go and how to find out more about that. But guess what? That's in California. Isn't that exciting? Yoga, health, fitness, we are the gurus of that, right? We're the ones always talking about peace and love and happiness, my brother. That's the state. No, seriously. We're the ones that everybody, we're very health conscious, meat conscious, veggie. We're a bunch of veggies in this country, in this state, in our communities. Find out what they do. Find out those farmers markets. Go to those farmers markets. You know those yogurt happy girls with the little babies and booties hopping up and down. You know those people go to the farmers markets. You should be there. You should be talking with them. Find things in common. Talk about pesticides. I think in California right now that you cannot legally grow your own food. You guys need to look into that. And I know you're not even supposed to even sell food to your neighbor or swap food with your neighbor.
You can't even give it to your neighbor.
You can't even give it to your neighbor. So you got an apple tree and you got an orange, that ain't gonna work.
But you can grow your own dope, though.
Oh, you can grow your own dope, yes, because you're stressed out.
Can you share it with your neighbor?
Because you can't share it with your neighbor.
Because you can't share it with your neighbor. So I know that sounds like little stupid stuff, but I'm sorry, that's huge.
It adds
The
up.
farmers market industry is huge. Food Fight, great movie to watch on Netflix. Food Fight, write that down. It talks about the revolution of the food industry. And those who were raised, all of us who were raised up on a hamburger helper and frozen food and canned food. My parents are Southerners. They cooked everything fresh. So it just transcended. But, I mean, that was a fad and that was popular. Everybody wanted that chef, or what is it, Chef Boyardee. Oh, man, those commercials really got you when you were a kid. We found out you didn't eat a pasta in a can full of sodium. They didn't think about health back then. Now they're more health conscious, right? Mass process of foods. But now we're changing. We're back to the little mom and pop grocery stores through the farmer's market.
Excuse me, can I ask real quickly, who is behind that where you can't grow your own food and share it? Is that the lobby of the people who are
That's
the
a state
farmers
law.
market people?
That's a state law.
Or is that an Agenda 21
state.
thing having to do with GMOs? Or?
There are laws that have already been in place in the state that were voted through. See, we weren't there fighting.
Yeah.
We weren't there to make the people aware of what that law implemented.
Yeah, when
it could have been
did that
probably an
happen?
earmark, put it under something.
Yeah.
So,
Go back to FDR.
all I'm saying is that
Can you have a garden?
you have to. I don't know if you can have a garden. That's
Not in your front yard.
Not in your front yard.
They probably had all these.
I want you guys to identify these laws that are stupid. Aren't those stupid laws?
How do you research that? How do you?
You go online. Just go online. Look it up.
You can pretty much Google everything.
I'm sorry. What you saying about?
Somebody gonna write a citation for having a garden or something?
Well, you never know, and if they do, they will have their rights.
They can and they have, and there are court cases right now in various states.
She seems to be more abreast than she's your member.
That's ridiculous.
There are regulations
I
on
didn't
hedges in
realize.
Santa Monica.
Oh,
and
that.
There was a big deal about that.
Yeah.
And that's usually by city,
Yeah.
how tall your grass can be and
Right.
what kind
Okay.
of fence you can have. And
Now,
how
why
fast
am I bringing these things up? Because I want you to find things in common. So let's go back to the beginning. The top of the tree, the leaders. You don't know your leaders, you need to know your leaders. Why do you need to know your leaders? Because you can hold them accountable. Why do you want to hold them accountable? Because you want a better community. Okay? You don't know their names and you don't know their numbers. I can't help you with that. You got to do your homework. You got to find out where the money flows. You need to know how much money flows through your district. You need to know your district number. You need to know your district leaders. I don't care that they're Democrats. We're not winning. They're the supermajority. Live with it. Let them know your presence is known. I need leaders in this room. I don't need passive-aggressive people. Look how many people in this room. Look how big this state is. So it's time for us to roll our sleeves up, people. We got a lot of work ahead of us, and it's not free. It's not free. What amazes me is people ask me, how did you become a political strategist? How did you become a consultant? I said, because the consultants that are currently right now are not doing anything. We have people with a lot of money that give to these people, and I keep saying, what the hell are they doing? Who are they connecting with? And they write us off like we're losers in this state. We're great people in this state. We consist of a lot of money, a lot of ideas and ideologies that were processed and groomed from this state. But yet we're passive aggressive. I don't need you to be that way anymore. So by being involved with your leadership and your local leadership, you have that. Understanding your culture and your race. The culture in your community, how does it move? You know, we talked a lot about mommy and me and dogs and things like that, but the college community, college students, they have group meetings. Sometimes you might find something in common, go there. Find out those political groups in colleges. They're young, they're full of energy. The Libertarians, God bless them. We gotta love the Libertarian movement. Because even though their ideologies, we don't, stand 120% with them on some things, they may not stand 120%, but guess what? There's that 80 that's in there, and that's a large percentage that we have to stand behind. And the constitutional right, you can't go wrong with that. We all like bacon. You gotta go with the bacon. Bacon's always good, even if you're not a bacon person. Somewhere in life, someone smelled, tasted, and felt some bacon. Find something in common that you both like. You understand what I'm saying? When we think about the ideas of voters, trying to find those voters, how to change the minds of those voters, you got to move how to move through the landmines because you're constantly stepping on them. But if you're not knowing how to move, how do you know how to get those voters? Now, so my question to you is this. Let's think about voters. How do we find an elected official voter? What's the first process? How do we get a candidate elected?
Petition?
If we were going to have a candidate win, how do we get them elected?
We gotta market him.
Don't you have to get a certain number
Sell
of
'em.
signatures?
On the ballot.
There's different ways. This is what I want you to do. Money. It comes down to money and numbers. I go back to that over and over and over. In sales, it's money and numbers. Life is money and numbers. Always money and numbers. Okay? So numbers. How do you get the numbers? The numbers is about a cultural connection. You guys don't know your communities. You can't sit this beautiful gentleman out there and say, I want you to run for congressman. Okay, great, he's running. But he's not even connected in the community. You just moved here from Nebraska, right, 2 months ago, right? You're a Republican? Oh, that's wonderful. And you're passionate. You're up here asking for your endorsement. You're running for office. You're going to endorse this guy. He's been here 2 months. Why? Oh, but he's a Republican. We got to back him. But why? See, but you got this Democrat over here. He's a conservative Democrat who's getting things done. Now, I'm not saying to go Democrat. I'm not trying to make a point. You got to prep this guy. He's not ready. And you know he's going to lose. That's a lot of wasted energy. Okay? There might be some candidates who are Democrat. And I'm a Republican. I'm a very strong advocate Republican. But I'm also very pro-California. I am so more pro-California than anybody. I can tell you that. So being pro-California, I will cross that line and shake that man's hand and say, you need to do this for these people now. Because he's in position. He's the elected official. He's in position. You're still trying to get this guy groomed. He's from Nebraska. He runs. He loses really bad. Then all of a sudden he's gone. Poof. How many times have we had that one?
Oh.
Or I love the one that gets me is to run the Democrat against the Republican and the Democrat dies. And we still lose.
And we still lose. Yeah.
Isn't that the most amazing thing? Like, damn, we lost and she died. And then they have a special election, and guess what? The Republican doesn't even want to run in the special election. Are you kidding me? We just put all this effort, and I door knocked, and I was so excited, and I had my little Fluffy with me knocking on doors for you. Come on. Waste of time. As a political consultant, I sit down and I strategize with my candidates. I worked with Jack Orswell. Jack Orswell was this beautiful retired FBI agent in his 50s, running a large Asian community. Now, can you imagine running up against an Asian candidate who got 40% of the vote? We lost, but guess what? He got the primaries and he got 40% of the vote. And I was crushed because I really thought we had a good shot. And one of the Asian leaders just came to me and said, Shirley, I said, what? He did very good. I go, but he lost. I'm calling him Uncle. Uncle, he lost. And he said, but Shirley, he's an old, wise Asian gentleman, Chinese gentleman. He said, he lost, but he still did very good. He got a lot of our people to vote for him. You did good. So where's our wins? Our wins are creeping up, right? We may not win that candidate, but we're winning that connection. So what we do is we go back to that candidate right afterwards. I said, Jack, are you going to run? He said, Shirley, I'm old. I said, you need to make a game-changing mindset of what you want to do. Because we got 4 years or 2 years for you to continue to connect to that community. See, if he's going to run for office 4 years or 2 years from now, he's going to get your vote because you're Republican, but he needs to get those other people's votes, right? So you got to get candidates first connected to the community. But if you as a group here, Tea Party group, you're doing what urban game changers do. You're interacting with the community. You know the mommy and me groups. You know the dog groups. You know the baby, oh baby, and the black Negro, what is it, Black Army Republicans.
Negro Republican Army.
Negro Republican Army. We've all got some Negro Republican Army friends. Some of y'all say, I'm not going there. I'm just not going to go there. However you want to do it. And the Latino community. You mentioned the Latino community in the back. I mean, I live in Pasadena and I dance in Alhambra, so I call it Mixed Asia, which is Mexicans and Asians kind of mixed together. And it's wonderful to see the Asian community who do salsa so well, and I love them so much. But I identify what the culture, the dance culture people have in common. They sit around and drink, and you can share your ideologies with these people. See, you've got to find something connected. So when you do that, when he runs, guess what? You got a lot of information. You're in this group. You're in this group. You're in that association. You're in the urban league. You're in the men's group, the women's group, the dogs group, and you're able to work with this candidate that you collaborated, made an idea that you were going to endorse. Now you've prepared him. You've given him guns. You don't want a gun with no bullets. You an empty loaded system. Miss R.A. NRA hat girl. We all are. We have our guns, but we have no bullets. How do we get bullets? You become qualified by knowing your community. All right, I need 5 volunteers to come up here. Real quick, just 5 people.
Go on. Get up there.
Quick.
I have no idea.
Quick.
Just because I had to stand.
You're right. Come on up.
Sorry.
Get the coffee.
Yes, I do.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm from Nebraska as well. There's a lot of us here.
No, I haven't.
How's my time?
Oh, you're good.
Good, yeah. So, need more? One more?
No, she's coming. I just need another woman, that's all.
Okay, you got it, good.
It's about 20 past, yes.
Okay, I've had 12, right?
Yes, 12:21.
Okay, we're good with time. All right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4. I need one more person. All right.
You need another woman? Or?
Yes, doesn't matter.
Okay. All right.
Culture influencement is what I want to talk about. We've talked about culture. We've identified that. Let's talk about the ability to influence a culture. And I'm going to make it 6. I want to take you in the end because you really mentioned the Latino community, so I really want to talk about that. Because for some reason the RNC has come to California and they see that we're a majority of Latinos in the state. And they feel that because you're in front of the camera, so you might want to come over here. Because of it being the majority of Latinos, they feel that we should just dump a whole bunch of money in the Mexican and Hispanic community. And I'm telling you it's wrong. Because it's wrong because we just aren't just a bunch of Hispanics in the state. We consist of Latino, Asian, Armenian, Japanese, Dominican Republic. And Dominican people are different. They look like me, they speak Spanish, so you have to identify culture. So I'm going to give you each person a label. Please remember them because I have to remember them too, but hopefully you can help me out. So you're going to be the white guy. I like the white guy. You are now a black sister. You're black. Okay? Okay, you're black and you're going to be Hispanic, so, because you're Hispanic. I want to put you over on this side. You come behind me. So the Hispanic guy, come over on this side. You're over behind me. I'm going to move you over all the way over there.
Okay.
So what are you?
White guy.
Black.
Hispanic. You're my Asian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're the American. And you're the other. You're the other. Okay, the other.
E.T. My mom always told me I was special.
You're the other, whatever that other is. All right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people up here, right? Am I counting right? Yeah, 6 people. And we have 6 people up here. And I have these 6 people up here because I want you to identify culture influencement, how one culture influences another. So if you have someone who is African American, my African American person, please stand up. And you have this white girl, and we're going to have the others. Just you're going to rotate between people.
Okay.
And you're going to go behind her.
Okay.
Okay. You've been raised, and you're the other. Now you're all of a sudden you're a white guy, but you were raised in the black community. You connect with the community. Mm-hmm. You've been going to school with them, educated. You know the culture. You know the people. You're like, hey, but you're the white guy. Which way are you going to vote?
I. No.
You're going to vote mostly how you're influenced, right?
Sure.
And you might not vote in anything
You mean
from
about
your
my
culture.
original culture where
Your
I came
culture.
from. Right.
No, your culture of how you were raised.
Right.
And you were raised as an African American. Okay, so you're going to be connecting to that culture.
Yes.
That culture that has a strong influence in this state. Okay? So I want you to stand behind a Hispanic guy now. Okay, she's going to step aside. Again, same situation. You were raised in a Hispanic community. You connect to Hispanic people, but you're a white guy. Now you speak Spanish. You've gone to Spain. You were maybe born a Mormon, but you came here and got adopted by a Hispanic family, and you still have aunts and uncles you found out that are Mormon. They want you to have that influence, but you've been raised in this Hispanic community. You don't have to move because there's not much space. Same thing with the Asian community. Do you all see which way I'm going with this? See, the cultures are affected by where you live. So if you live in a community that's dominated by one race of people, most likely you're going to identify with their needs and you're going to generate a passion. If you're a patriot person, you have passion. And that passion is going to overwhelmingly affect you. And it's what surrounds you is where you're going to be driven. It's going to make a difference. So if that's the case, if we look at the Hispanic community and we find out that the Asian, you're the Asian, and if we had that room, I would have you stand behind him, and we would have you stand because you're the American. You really don't want to claim any race, but you also hanged around the Asian guy. If everybody's gathered around the Asian guy, it would be like, well, then whose culture is more influencing? Is it the Asian community? But it's not, because it's more Latinos. See, it's the culture influencement that you have of how you live. California is very diverse. We're very different than the Midwest. We're very different than the East Coast. But guess what? We've got 55 golden nuggets we want back in our pocket. Right? Who knows what those are?
Electoral votes.
Yeah, because we're talking about voters right now. We're in a voters mindset. So if we want those votes, we have to ignore everyone else around us and do what we have to do for ourselves. And we've got to connect to those cultures that we see that are dominating and have large voices. The African American people have a large voice in this state. The Hispanics have a large voice in the state. But who influences you most is usually where you live. Anybody have any questions up here on that one?
I love it. But in the recent mayoral election, Kevin James couldn't even get Republicans to vote for him. So he had a problem connecting with even people who were supposed to come out and vote for him anyway, rather than crossing lines. So if you can't even get people in your who are predisposed to already get your vote, how are you even supposed to?
Well, you can't run an openly gay guy and a conservative trying to get Christian votes. They're just going to everybody at church. They announced it, and everybody I knew who was a Christian church was not going to vote, and they stayed home or they voted for Wendy Grohl.
That's disgusting. Because why does it matter? Like you were saying, why does it matter if they have tattoos or if they're doing something? I mean, you can get into the debate about the whole thing. I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, he couldn't. So you mean to tell me the 3 million Republicans that are in the county that could have voted didn't vote simply because they knew he was gay? Well, then that's
that's not true. But on the other hand,
my question for her though. My question is that how can we connect culturally if we can't even in this state, in our city, can't even get people like us to just show up in local elections?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let me address the gay issue. We live in California. We all have gay friends. And they're people. I would say gay is a lifestyle. There's a lot of analyzation of what a gay person and who they are. I don't look at my gay friends as, hey, you're gay. I love them as who they are. And I love people who happen to be gay. I love them for who they are, and it is a lifestyle of choice. Just because you choose, and please don't take this very wrong. I always describe it as this way. It's just my personality. I always say it's if you like sausages or you like pie. I don't care, but it's your choice of sausages. It's just that's their choice, and that is the only difference from me. I don't sit back and say, oh, you're more educated, oh, you think different, oh, you use your hands gestures a little different way. It's between sausages and pie. So because of that, I leave it alone. And I say, who is the person? Because that person could be the one that pull that rope up faster than the other person. So I don't think the gay issue is the answer.
I have
hold on. Let me answer his question because this is important. It goes back to that gentleman when he was sitting here. That guy wasn't prepped. Kevin wasn't ready. Who the hell's Kevin? Nobody knew him. This is a huge state, but something about the mayoral race in LA County is huge. It's always huge. It's the mayor that influenced. We have mayors in every city. I don't think people realize that. They think that mayor was the mayor of the state. Like we have a state mayor. We really don't have a state mayor. People don't understand how California works. But that mayor is maybe the pinnacle mayor, right? That always is the mayor for the state of California, the mayor of Los Angeles. So just to let you know, in that case, he wasn't ready. When he ran, I'm like, who is this guy? It goes back to everything that I've been talking to you guys about. Everything about prepping yourself, from getting connected to the voters, to understanding the culture, to putting your years in. If I were to ask you right now, how long has this guy lived in California? Who is he? What's his background? We would be going through that same process, right? And you guys couldn't answer those questions. This guy was not connected. Wendy Rule, on the other hand, she goes back to Tom Bradley. She's very well connected with Tom Bradley. You know, there was an event in LA that was called LA Dialogue, where they had Wendy Rule and they had Eric Garcetti. And the whole thing about the black community was which way they were going to go. And Wendy kept saying, oh, when I'm Tom Bradley. Well, Wendy Rule's old school. It's that old school saying but a lot of people don't remember Tom Bradley. I remember Tom Bradley because his mother lived down the street from me in the neighborhood. His brother used to walk up and down the street, and I remember saying, hey, Mr. Bradley. And I remember when he won. And I remember when he ran, and there was before him was Sam Yorty. I remember Watergate. I'm telling you, I've been a kid. I've been a political activist since I was in elementary. I was not for the Jarvis movement, the Proposition 13. You know why? Because they took an earmark of Parks and Recs and they put it under that bill. So Parks and Recs suffered.
They're called pork.
Parks and Rec suffered in the urban black communities, and they lost a lot of money. So that means street kids had nowhere to go, and monies were pulled away so that we could get Proposition 13 in place. So there's a give and take in some of these propositions. Hold on your thought. Let me answer this man's question.
I can't hold on. I'm just
just hold your thought. So to answer your question goes back to when that gentleman was sitting here. If you have a Republican candidate that won't get votes from the Republicans. The reason why Republicans don't vote for a Republican candidate, they don't feel comfortable. If it was the fact that he wasn't a Christian or he wasn't gay, guess what? That's your right not to vote for that person. But the fact that Kevin didn't prepare himself for that mayor, if you don't run for the mayor of Los Angeles, you need to be running now. Granted, we just found out who won. You need to be running now. That guy should have had major grassroots connected. So when he ran, everybody knew who he was. He made some. California is a celebrity in glam town, and if you're not a glamorous celebrity connected somewhere, you're gonna miss it.
Okay, I disagree with you. Kevin was very well known. All right, from his radio talk show, he was. I met him at a city council. Individual city councils that we have throughout our city. He was extremely well known. Once it did come out that he was gay, the gay community all of a sudden, talk about culture now, just exactly what you said. They all of a sudden turned around and said, wait a minute, we're going to back him. He's one of us. All right? Now this mayor election, as well as the primaries and the one before that, was so small in electorate. The people that came out anyway, regardless of those of us who did not come out to take care of Kevin, that mayor got in on a wing and a prayer. So I'm with you on everything that you're saying, but let's talk about people just not caring.
Okay? Before we go there, I'm going to go back and tell you why you're wrong.
Okay. All right.
I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, all right.
How many people ran in that race?
3. Well, it came down to 3.
No, there was like more than
6 or 7.
Somebody help me out.
There was
like 6 to 10 people, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if it ever got that big, but yes.
Okay, so let me help you out. What kind of race do we run now? Well, there's a new law just came in place. They kind of twisted us up. We all don't kind of remember that. It's called open what?
Open primary.
What does that mean?
Well, there's no.
Oh, yeah.
There's no party.
You can cross party lines.
Yeah, you can cross party lines.
LA election.
Ding, 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 ding. So,
election.
okay, hold on. I'm making a
And they
point.
didn't
I'm going to
put
answer the
DNR.
question. Okay.
DNR next
Okay.
to 'em.
Well, I
So,
want to
hold on. Hold your thought.
clarify.
So, if we're going to have that many people running, we got all these people running, that means there's a lot of votes going all over the place.
Right.
It's not like before where you can say this is the Republican, this is the Democrat, and that's it. So now Republicans can go anywhere they want to go, number one. Okay. Number two, you say Kevin was known in the conservative community and the gay community. I'm sorry. In the urban community, because I'm an urban game changer, he was not really connecting as well as Wendy Rule, as
And he
Eric
didn't on the West Side
Garcetti. Hold your
either.
thought. Also money. Let's talk about money.
Yeah.
How much money did he have compared to Eric Garcetti? How much money did he have to Wendy Rule? I've told you numerous times throughout this whole speech of today, it's about numbers of money. And if you don't get that, you're missing the point. Forget about connection and liking people. You need money, baby. This is not a cheap state.
True.
And if you don't identify your Goliath and your David, you don't get it. You don't get the giant and the little guy, right? Because we're the little guy. And the little guy's got to find out how to get that rock to hit that monster down quickly. Well, guess what? Kevin wasn't prepped. It goes back to what I said before. You're going to get out, you're going to play this game. You're going to know how to play chess. You got to know how to, this is not a checkers game. This isn't hopscotch. This isn't like in some of those small countries, those small states where they can just get elected official. You're running for the mayor of California. And the challenge is Los Angeles, California. You've got a lot of people running. So number one, I understand what you're saying. He had the gay vote. He had the Republicans. He had Christians who didn't support. Forget all that. I'm telling you, forget it.
Money.
The man was broke.
Yeah, I know.
You cannot run in California broke for a major seat like that. Number two, you had a lot of people running. 6, 10, 5, we got all kind of numbers. More than 3. It's not 2. They come down to the final 2, which were 2 Democrats. Why? Because we have what kind of primary? Open primary. And if you're registered the wrong way, you might not see it a certain way on your ballot. A lot of people don't want to talk about that. That was why the Libertarians became Republican. Because if you wanted to vote for Ron Paul, you couldn't register as a Libertarian. You had to register as a Republican.
Right.
And so the Blue Republicans, which is a website to learn more about that, talked to them and educated them and say, look, if we want to get Paul on the ballot, you're going to have to register as a Republican. Because the Paul people identify where the money and the numbers were. So it's very simple. Before we complicate each other and say, oh, it's about race, it's about culture, it's always about numbers and money. Did that answer your question?
I beg your pardon. I'm sorry. I was listening to.
Did that answer your question?
You enlightened me.
Okay. You feel more enlightened?
A bit.
Excellent.
Okay.
I think it's constructive that despite his disadvantages on the affinity
You guys
side,
can sit down now, by the way. Thank you, Margaret.
Yeah, he was disadvantaged on the affinity aspect of the money, but he still did very, very well despite that.
Yeah, he did do
Pretty
well.
interesting. And, you know, I saw him talk today, and what he pointed out was interesting is despite the fact that he came out of nowhere, that he was a political amateur, and he did have these disadvantages, he still gave them all a run for their money, and he became the kind of the
Okay, let's
you know, he was what they call it the
Let me tell you how well you can make this so simple.
Yeah.
Numbers, money, and name. Anybody else on that ballot? Y'all knew the name? How long the Garcetti's been around?
Right.
Oh yeah.
I've been seeing his name for 18 months.
Okay, who was before him?
Well, it was his father. So.
Ding, ding, ding! His father. How long was his father in office?
Gosh, ever since the other guy, Ira Reiner got.
People in California,
Early 90s,
Californians vote on name notoriety.
Yes, they do.
Donna Lowe lost to name notoriety.
Star Jones. Not Star Jones, but Star Jones.
Nick Holden.
Yeah.
Nick Holden, Chris Holden's son. It's the
Oh.
son, it's Chris
Han.
Holden.
Han.
Janice Han. California votes on name.
And nepotism.
Name and numbers and money. Period. Forget
Brown's
about
in
values. Forget it. Just throw it out. Just throw it out. The Browns.
Jerry Brown's there.
Brown, the dad, the daughter, the son, the name.
So can we just change our name? That might help.
Yeah, that might
right?
help you.
Oh, yeah. Someone did
change my name to Bradley.
Alvin Green, not in California. I forgot what state. God help me. But I want to tell you about Alvin Green. Alvin Green ran for office under the Democratic Party. And he had some mental disorders, I think, because in the interview I saw him. But it was interesting. People thought he was Al Green.
That's what I was going to say. Did he run as
And
Al?
so he made it as their candidates, and the Democrats were scared, but they lost anyway. Because they were like, well, no, we didn't really choose him, but he won a fair election.
You're talking about North Carolina or South
Yes, something like that. Yeah, North Carolina, South Carolina, that's right. His name was Alvin Green, but people voted for him because they thought he was Al Green. Wow. Do you know when Gary Coleman ran for governor in California, he got over 10,000 votes? 10,000 votes for Gary Coleman. Gary Coleman, who's dead today, but he could have been your governor for California. And didn't know what the hell he was doing. He even said it. I don't know. They just told me to put my name on the ballot. I saw him in an interview. I'm like, really? Yep, just started wrong. What do you do? I don't know. I'm just here. People are like, I like that guy. He'd probably be good. I'm voting for him. Name, notoriety. So when you talk about running a candidate, when you guys get all emotional, he's gay, he's straight, he has conservative values, he stands for the Tea Party. I'm telling you, Callies don't vote that way.
So you got to make everybody a star. Is what you got to do. You got to make them a star.
No, you're not listening. That's not what I've said.
No, I'm talking about money.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. Listen.
Okay.
I've told you it's about cultural connection. You got to make that person connected to the grassroots of their community. And even if they're not able to do it all alone, that's where you come in. You're out there. You're the star, not the candidate. The candidate is riding on your knowledge. You need to watch the movie Game Change. Game Change, where you were able to see how Sarah Palin came out of nowhere. They Googled her name. She looked good on the Charlie Rose interview, and so they said, you know what? I think we're going to run this girl. She would be great as VP. You'd be surprised at the process of how a candidate is chosen.
Game Change.
Okay? So I would say HBO's Game Change, watch that movie. And if you guys have me back, which I'd be honored to come back and talk to you, I'd love to hear your input on that movie. But I will tell you, you're the star, not the candidate. You're the one that are connecting to the community. You're finding out from the dog people and the mommy, baby people. And, and the NRA people. But if you don't have your gun loaded, you're not going to be able to connect to the people. And how you stay loaded is by finding out the ideas and ideologies of the community. And when you're the star, they come to you for your endorsement. How many people have come here and said, I need you to endorse me. I'm running for water board. I'm a Republican. There's no Republicans running. Vote for me. And you go, oh, she's so nice and she's so sweet. Okay. You didn't know she just got out of a mental institution. Nor did you know she just came here from Muskogee. And they don't even know if there's such a name. I know I said that wrong. But don't even know California. Don't even know your district. If you were to grill her like I'm grilling you, you'd be like, get the hell out of here. Who had her on the stage? You guys need to get tough. You're the star, not the candidate. Then the candidate rises on your glory.
Wow, that's heavy.
The candidate rises on your glory. Because if that candidate doesn't do good, you got to go. I don't care. I don't care if you're a Republican. If you're a Republican loser, I don't want you around. Where's Kevin James? Why didn't Kevin James continue to campaign? Why didn't he take up another flag? Why isn't his name out there? Oh, I feel sorry he lost. I don't. Goodbye. I'm being honest with you. If he's not going to be the advocate, let him continue. Don't just be a shock jock. Shock jocks never impress me. I'm not a big Rush Limbaugh or Glenn Beck fan because those people are not on the streets. They sit behind, they grow bellies, and they collect a lot of money. Me and you are in the streets. We got to live with these people. We got to talk to these people. These people are us. We have to find an identification with them. And then once that, you're the power. You got the tools. So when that candidate runs, you're equipping them. You've already connected. You've joined that mommy and me group. You say, I've had kids. I know what it's like. You got about 30, 40 of those women liking you. Now, all of a sudden, even though you don't have any children anymore, you're a part of the committee. You're on the chairman committee. You're chairing the mommy and me yada yada club. Now this candidate's running for office. Guess who talks politics all the time? Oh, my God. What's your name?
Carol.
Carol's always talking about, let's ask Carol.
How'd you know that?
Yeah, there you go.
How'd you know that?
So now they're all going to go ask Carol because Carol's the go-to. She's the mouth. You can't shut Carol up.
That's true.
Let's go to Carol. So Carol needs to be in those groups. So guess what? When he runs for office, well, you know, I'm going, why? You don't even mention the fact the man's Republican. You just mention the fact that you have an identification to the ideas of what they want, and they know that you agree with what they have.
Interesting.
You guys are good people. You're smarter than what you look like. We need leaders. No, but we need leaders, people. We don't need passive-aggressive people. We need leaders. Okay, how much time do I have left? I have one more thing.
I have to leave you.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I want to close it with this. You guys got that paper on the back. Carol, could you do me a favor before you leave?
Yes.
On that paper I gave you, can you guys give me your name and number and your email and then tear that off and leave that with me right now?
All right.
I should have said that at the beginning, but for those who might not have it, just take like 2 minutes and then I'm going to do my closing speech. If you need some extra for friends that you want to pass out and give to, I also will appreciate that.
Well, I do.
So, might be some more passed on the back, but please tear that off and give that to me real quick before you go.
Oh, yeah.
Let me say this to you. Opportunity happens when your mindset is set straight. When you identify the game of the challenge that's before you. And our challenge right now is to be proactive in connecting with our communities. California is not a loss. We're a multi-billion-dollar state. We are in the top 10 as far as culture, as far as wealth, as far as opportunity. In the nation, nationally, we're looked upon as a country, not just a state. And when you identify your power in that, it's up to you to make that change. I ask you to join Urban Game Changers. Just give me your name and your number. I'll keep you alert. And just tear off the bottom and pass it down to the end, and the end person can give that to me. And the reason why I want your information, because I want to keep you abreast when you find out like the transgender law, ideas. I'm also going to be starting groups where I'm going to be talking to individual groups, and I'll be mentoring groups on a monthly basis, keeping you connected with the urban community aspect of it. And people hire me for that. If you've got candidates that want to run for office, I am wonderful. I am for hire for speaking engagements like the ones we have here. As well as understanding structure, as well as understanding culture as well, and consulting. So if you think outside the box and you want to be a go-getter, become an urban game changer. Thank you so much. My name is Shirley Husar. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Make sure you check me out on all the social media circuits, and I'm there. And read my article in the Washington Times Community Watch.
We have time for a short Q&A session.
Yes.
So I'll let you recognize people. And
Okay. Gentleman in the back.
What is the status of the transgender law? Does it have merit there in the?
It's already passed. I think either the Senate or the House. I have to look it up. I haven't looked at it recently, but it's already passed one side. We just have to get it past the other. There is an organization. If you go to my website, Community Washington Times, the article that I wrote, I give you all the links of who to contact to learn more about it. And you'll see Harvey Millman, which they had Harvey Millman Day recently. It was a gentleman that ran for office who's a gay advocate. He's passed away since then. And they kind of use him as a platform. Milken, yes. There was a movie done called Milk. You can learn more about him. And that's up in the Bay Area. But to answer your question, go to the Washington Times, Community Washington Times, and look up transgender bathrooms and under Urban Game Changer. And I give you all the links to find out the status currently at this time. Yes.
So what's the percentage of conservative African Americans around Southern California? Is there a large amount or not really?
I think there's a large amount because of the churches. When you think about the black churches, a lot of them are conservative, but they don't know it.
But they don't vote
yeah, see, the key thing is that we can't even go by percentages if you don't identify what is a conservative.
They have conservative social values, but they don't have, they don't identify with the Republican Party.
Well, right, and the Republican Party's brand is bad, the Tea Party brand is bad, so we can't just go by brands, we got to go by the definition of the brand. What does this brand stand behind?
Right.
What are the ideologies of the brand? I think that's what we have to emphasize. Once you do that, then then I throw them a curveball and say, oh, by the way, I'm a Republican. But I don't go in with that one, right? I come in with the slider. I kind of go, I slide myself in there, and I'm connecting with their ideas. And we're Christians, and I'm a Christian. I was raised in Fred Price's church. And so, we talk about the values of how it affects the community, and how many people want gay transgender bathrooms that are Christians in their community. I don't think the gays even want gay transgender bathrooms. Not all gays, some of them do. But I think the key thing that is we have to do is, if we just go by the percentage, then we'll say, oh, it's not that many. But I don't want you to think that way. I want you to go in there thinking different so we can change the numbers. Find connectable ideas.
But, is there any chance of turning African Americans into voting Republicans or
Well, I'm African American. I vote Republican.
yeah.
And so there's a lot of them out there. I
But
think
I mean,
people
do they
don't know
just
about.
I mean, if you're not African American, will they just turn away from you and they won't listen to you anyways? So,
I think don't go on a race issue. I think that's where the GOP's gone wrong. And I think when I see some of these talk shows and they go on talking about race and how I was treated. I mean, Hannity had all those black people on that panel. I want to say to Hannity, aren't you Irish? Give me a break.
I mean, that's what I mean.
I mean, why is that an issue? Why is that an issue? I mean, it's an issue, but it's not. I mean, if you can find something where we all want better water, we found out that we live in a town of dirty water. Everybody wants dirty water, clean water. We're going to jump on that. When we were attacked in 9/11, everybody's American said, don't mess with freaking America. All that race stuff got put aside.
Yeah, but what about Obama? I mean, blacks voted for Obama because he was black.
Okay, Obama's already elected official. He's already president. Get over it. He's not doing a lot of stuff for black people either. Black people are mad at Obama. Everybody's mad at Obama. The gays are mad at Obama. A gay lady attacked Michelle 4 days ago. I don't know if you know about this. It was a Democratic fundraiser. I wrote an article on that.
Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama, thank you. And they went to Michelle Obama, and she's at a fundraiser, and she basically protested loudly. Your husband is going to vote this gay bill through. It was a gay bill, some type of gay legislation bill that he promised to put through when he was running in 2008. And so they realized the clock is ticking, and this man's almost out, right? They're not getting their bill through. They're mad. She's screaming at her. So Michelle walked away, walked up to the lady. By the way, those who don't know, Michelle is 5'11". So most of you men would get towered by Michelle Obama with no heels. She stood over the woman and says, I don't do stuff like this. And said, I'll give you the mic. And the lady says, I'll gladly take the mic. She was going to take the mic from the first lady. And then one person in my comments said, well, Michelle was scared. I said, let me get this straight. Black lady, 5'11", with armed guards ready to shoot and kill you at any moment. And she was scared. I do not think so. So I say that point to say that the Obamas have not always fulfilled on the promises that they've made to get in office. On both sides, on the gay and the African American community. So if you want to find connectable ideas of the African American community, go back to what I've just taught you at the very beginning. Find out cultural connection. This gentleman actually was next. Go ahead.
It seems like the Democrats have been really good over the eons of creating identity and victim groups, and we've been talking about that here.
Sure.
So is your thesis then the antidote to that is finding common ground with those groups? And I mean, it's like taking the Latino Americans, getting back to being Americans. And what do you think the answer to that? How do we get back there?
To
being American, just scrubbing out the identity politics.
I don't think identity politics will ever get scrubbed because it's so. You got to think about California culture versus Midwest culture versus if you got upland people in California are way different, or Antelope Valley people are way different than Santa Monica people. I think that we are just diverse. We're always been this is such a melting pot.
Sure.
We're Northerners.
Right.
So that's part of the fabric
but
of our
50 years
foundation.
ago, nobody thought of themselves as a transgender American or a gay American. Or
No, but there were other issues that they thought of themselves as a black American. They thought of themselves as a man. Forget about American. Black people just became human.
Sure.
Think about the transformation of African Americans who were slaves. Then they were considered hoping to be human.
Sure.
Then the 60 movement where they had the shirt, I am a man. The fact that I come from a culture of people that basically were bred upon. They looked at the biggest black man and the strongest black woman and said, you're going to have babies.
Sure.
And then they'd take your baby and they'd put them on a slaughter and they would sell them away. I was cattle. I wasn't considered humane. It was not even an issue.
But they do the same thing now. Have you seen the
That's
Bachelor?
that's the point that I'm making. You answered your own question. We've gone from one ideology issue, if we're going to talk about separate races and cultures and identifying what is humane, to where we are today. When is it just going to be Americans? It will never be just Americans.
But
because we're a country that immigrate with people from all over the world.
Similar to a herd of animals, right? The weak gets culled away for the predators, right? And that's what they have done with the with the world, really, which is say, we're going to pull you out of the group and now make you a victim group, and you're weaker, and then we prey on you by making you think the way we want you to think.
That sounds like socialism.
Exactly.
That's what the Democrat Party's always done.
Right, exactly. So I'm looking for the antidote to that entire
The antidote is the conservative, libertarian, Republican value urban game changer.
Sure.
That's the answer. You had a question, Steve. Steve's on the You were the other hand I saw second.
Not mine.
Go.
I hope I can pose this question right, and forgive me if you addressed it, because I distracted and running in and out. But okay, we're a Tea Party group, and we get riled up about the Constitution being violated and these really awful programs that are coming in, like Agenda 21. And you've talked a lot about connecting with the cultures we're in, connecting, knowing the communities we're living in. But what really is our overall goal in this? We can't get people elected who don't have money and names. I'm getting the impression that you feel we should focus on local issues that we can talk to our neighbors about, but not identify ourselves as Tea Partiers or Republicans.
No, I want you to
like
be a human being. I want you to be you.
Right, but what are we trying to accomplish?
Okay, your accomplishment, number one, goes back to what I started. I had you think about who your elected officials are. You don't even know your own bullets in your gun. You need to identify who your local officials are first. Then you need to identify what's going on in your community. What are you most passionate about? What do you see that could be a problem that could cross both lines between Republicans and Democrats? And then you can be bold and say, yeah, I'm a Tea Party person. That did you know, da-da-da-da-da. And they go, what? And you know that would be an issue with that person despite what they are. See, if you don't even know what you are, I can't help you. You need to know you first. You don't even know your district, your leaders, what your leaders have proposed on the table. How many of those people supported the transgender bill that are in your district and that people don't even know about?
I guess what I'm asking is, let's say we get to that point and all of us, you come back 2 months from now, we all know all our congressmen, we know every assembly person and so forth. And so we've got our guns, we've got our ammunition, but what are we shooting at?
You're shooting to get him elected. I keep going.
But we already know that without money and a name.
Really? It's about numbers and money.
Well, that's what you.
It's always about numbers and money.
Right.
Tim Donnelly won his first race by 40 votes.
We actually had Kevin James
by 40 votes. The Tea Party in Pasadena is amazing.
Kevin James actually spoke here a year and a half before the election, or even longer ago, and we all wanted to rally behind him and help him. I think there might be another thing at work with him, Republicans not even voting for him, because I think when people feel like someone can't be elected, they feel like they're wasting their vote, which I think is a really bad way for people to perceive it, but they're wasting their vote, so they want to vote for somebody who might win, and I think that might be the explanation for the person that wondered why Kevin James couldn't get Republican votes. But still, I'm sorry to press on this too much, but okay, so I've got my gun, I've got my ammunition, I know my community, and I'm with them, and there's some local issue that I can engage them with. But what about these big issues that concern Tea Partiers, like this massive Agenda 21 thing?
Immigration?
Well, actually, we don't address immigration that much in our Tea Party group. We like to stick to... is our Constitution
I'm gonna
being
stop you there
violated?
because there's a couple of people that have questions, so I'm gonna cut to your chase.
Sure.
When you've gathered all that other information, when you want boom, 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 then come back to me. Because I'm not gonna take you. It's like a professor saying, let's address chapter 24 when you haven't gotten through chapter 2. So 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, and prior to that, let's get those down first. And again, grassroots. What I'm about is connecting with the grassroots. Because if the root is right and the soil is right, that other stuff is easier. Because when you are able to identify the stuff up here, you've already got your grassroots in place, so you can ignite. You're the star. Carol has a mouth like unlike no other, right? So when Carol goes in the community, and she's got those people rallied now, she's done everything that you mentioned. I'm going to use Carol's example. And she's done everything that you've mentioned. You don't think people are going to listen to her? So now the immigration bill comes into place. Now the president issues come into place. Who are they going to go to? They're going to go to Carol.
I see. Be the go-to person.
Because you're the star, not the candidate. The candidate needs you. You need to identify your own power. That's the point. Anybody else?
I would just say that what was important, what you said was the 55 votes for California, the delegates that were in California. It sounds like we're influencing that. To me, that's what we're shooting at by doing the actions that you're talking about, knowing the representatives.
Bingo.
And getting involved in the community, whether it's the ghost town condo like Steven's got, or a dog walking community like I've got, getting to know your neighbors without identifying yourself as Tea Party or Republican or whatnot, because you've got a common ground that you're talking about. But recognizing the long-term value I want to get those 55 to value California in a completely different way, because Republicans.
Because we're talking about the president.
They don't actually.
Well, we
stop
not
here.
only want the 55, we want the state. We want the local elected officials. We want the water board.
To me, that's a bit of
Right.
a long-term target.
Right. But see how
that's the direction.
that's the direction we're going.
Yeah.
That's correct.
That's
That end that he's trying to talk
Yeah, that's
about.
the
Right.
direction I'm heading.
So I'm talking about the middle and the grass. Because if
Yeah.
we don't talk about the root and the grass, we won't get that 55.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, California is a threat to the race. It changed the matrix.
Some states
dramatically.
did that recently. They, oh, surprise! Guess what's on the table?
Right. It's like, what? No way. And California's not going to go there. We almost got Bush through the second time. So I know that, Obama had a lot of energy behind him when he ran. That's a whole other topic. But the fact of the matter is there's a lot of talk about who's going to be president. All the way from Hillary Clinton, all the way to, Chris Christie's talked about. There's a lot of people that are being talked about for running for, even Rick out of Texas. Rick's Perry. We got to remember, it's number of monies, people. It's number of money. If you like them or their values, their ideologies, I don't even want you to think about what they stand for. I want you to start thinking, first, number one, number of monies. Number of money. How much money do they have, and how many numbers can they influence, and what group is it? Done the urban game-changing plan, so by the time they run, you guys are equipped with a gun to support the star.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that's maybe a backwards way. We like to think about values and concepts in a conservative way. That's not how we think in Cali. It's always about the star.
Which we're finding out how important we are.
Exactly.
That's what I got out of this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, next federal election, presidential election, we're going to have more Latino voters than even Anglo voters, maybe. They're saying that our best hope is to try to find like Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, or somebody like that to run for the Republican.
No, I understand that, but
I'm saying
no.
how
Look,
important is race?
Look, I'm not going to go into the presidential race. I know what my strengths are, and we can have a lot of debates about that. That's not really my passion.
Yeah.
The president's going to be who the president is. Correct. When we get to that point, I want us to be ready to change that number. That's all I want. I want us to be able to say, we got 55, we're going behind such and such. Let's make this happen. And that we all unite. And I'm able to unite all the Tea Party groups that I've been part of, all the Patriot groups I've been in membership with. And that if we had a meeting and we met at one location and once a week, we all had at least 5,000 to 10,000 people. And we're talking everything that we have. And I have committees, and I have a group of you guys on the committee. And I'm equipping you, and you're equipping me. This is strategy. This is war.
Yeah, well, you're saying we can change the game at the grassroots level, regardless of race, just by identifying with other issues.
Find out what the culture issue is. Gradually, it's going to be Latino. If it's Latino, it's Latino. Who cares? There's a large Latino in this community. There's no doubt. We're right next to Mexico. We have a large Latin influence, but that is absolutely true. How many people in here are bilingual? How many Republicans do we know that are registered bilingual advocates for the party? See, all those little things, they add up. Do you understand what I'm saying? But if we're so focused on, well, let's talk about the candidate. So we can spend an hour talking about the candidate for presidency. Who gives a crap? We're not prepared here.
What I'm saying is it worth spending the time trying to meet and greet and get to know people grassroots level of other racial ethnicities?
Absolutely.
Because they're going to end up voting for the same race anyways.
You're making an assumption that's not true.
That's what I'm wondering. What do you
Don't make an assumption.
Who says that candidate is not going to be the same?
I mean, Republicans are saying, well, we...
Can somebody else, what were you going to say? Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that maybe they will vote for somebody who's the same, who they identify with, but that's not to say that that person doesn't have to be conservative.
I've got Democrats that voted for Donna Lowe because she was a woman. A woman says, you know what, I needed more women in office.
We're talking about numbers and money. We gotta know our chances. I mean, spend so much time and there's no real chance at success. You gotta play.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we got urban game changers.
You're saying that most black people in your experience are conservative,
yes,
but they still vote Democrat. So I mean, that's the point there.
Yes.
Which is that their natural, alliance is conservative, not to say.
Yeah, the natural habitation is
so
the cultural.
It's not about
conservative, but not Republican. And if you're on the Republican ballot, it doesn't make a difference then.
But you're not implementing the ideas of what the Republican Party stands for. You're not getting that.
We need to help them make the connection, I think.
Right.
That's what I mean, yeah, it's all about communication. That's probably, the Republicans are saying that's the biggest problem with Mitt Romney election is lack of proper communication.
I want you to identify this. I really want you to watch your energy distribution for you. Let me give you some advice. But listen, this is what I want you to do. Stop focusing on national races. If you want to be effective, you need to focus locally. Forget the fact, I don't care if Hillary was president. I'll be honest with you. I want you to focus on local races because that affects her life. The trash can, the school board, the sexual trans, your children's, the generation after that, it got affected because you didn't speak up against transgender bathrooms. Now you've got perverts walking in acting like he's a woman, but he's actually a sexual molester, molesting your daughter because you didn't vote on that bill.
I don't remember seeing that ever on a ballot about the transgender.
It's not on a ballot. They're the super majority. A lot of stuff they can get through, they don't need your vote. You're nobody.
You just said we can't vote for you.
Right. So this is what I'm trying to help educate you while you're here. Is to identify if you can understand local elections and local leadership and what.
But we don't know a transgender thing is going to be coming up, and you know.
No, it's already on the ballot.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know that's coming up.
You got to look for it. You got to read local papers. You got to go to the bills and.
Well, you didn't know that. You didn't know that when you voted for your people. That wasn't even on there coming up.
No. You can go to the website of the California legislature and read all the bills that are up.
I understand that.
I've written local guys that because they're like, oh, we're going to spend $76 million on the arts now instead of $1 million.
The purpose. Listen. Look, we're all on the same team, but this is a war. You're in a war.
Yeah.
And it's not a pretty war. It makes us mad. It's dirty business. It's dirty business. It's not right. Why didn't somebody tell me? That's their game. They don't have to tell you. If they can go ahead and get it under the table, it's a slider, baby. If you know baseball, they did a slider. They didn't throw the ball nicely and pitched it.
I understand that.
Okay, so that's why, hold your slowly roll. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help you to identify those things.
That's why I'm firing a question at you because I want some deeper, answers.
Well, the deeper answer is like he said, do your research.
I
do your research. Hopefully they'll help me back and we'll be able to.
We've run over quite a bit. We can all continue talking outside on the patio.